I'm
All right,
good.
all right. That's crazy. A little technical difficulty before we get started. Okay, so I'll start again. Take two. Hey, folks, it's your boy Iceberg. Welcome to On the Icebox with Iceberg. Guest tonight comes from Canada. Canada seems to be the spot where I always land looking for a good builder. And so it just happens to be that way. Um, so tonight, my guest is it Fraser Valley Bricks?
Fraser Valley Bricks.
Fraser Valley Bricks. Okay, okay. So man, uh, for the folks that don't know you, include myself, where you from and how long you been building, man?
So I'm from Surrey, BC, which is a suburb of Vancouver here on the west coast, and which is Surrey's in the Fraser Valley, hence the name.
Hmm.
It's always funny. Americans always say Fraser because they're used to Kelsey
Yeah,
Grammer, and
yeah.
every time, and then Canadians always know it as Fraser, especially people out here. So
Uh,
yeah, I've been building since I was an infant. My parents got me Lego, or they got me Duplo from my first birthday. And
hmm.
once I turned 4, every Christmas I'd get a big set that I'd build with my dad, especially when I was younger. So my
Okay.
first two big sets. One of them was the Black Sea Barracuda, which
Uh-huh.
is the great pirate ship from the early '90s, and then the other one was a Shell gas station.
Oh,
That
that's a classic.
Yeah, the 2 layer, the parking garage one with the car wash and everything. And actually, I rebuilt it again a few years ago, and it's just an awesome classic set. And then yeah, since
Okay.
then, never completely gave it up. During the dark ages, it wasn't as big of a part of my life, but
Hmm.
getting getting out of university and having some more disposable income and free time, and then just got right back into it and haven't looked back since.
Okay, awesome, awesome deal, man. Awesome. Man, Lego's definitely everywhere, man, and it's just so fascinating to hear everybody's story and where they've been and how far they came. Um, so what's next? Because you did quite a few awesome projects. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but you've done some quite things, and you also done a commission yourself. But what are your next Lego aspirations? What's the next big thing for you?
Next Lego aspirations. I mean, they're not really any bigger than they are now. I'm not someone who wants to make it my living. I'm a big sports guy, and I used
Hmm.
to work in sports, and I found that doing that all day, you don't end up enjoying it as much in your free time, and I don't want to do that with Lego. So I just want it to never be more than if I make a few bucks here and there, awesome, but I just want to enjoy it and not be counting on it for money or needing it for money.
Hmm.
And but other than that, my next aspirations, just I've got a few builds on the go right now,
Okay.
and once those are done, put the finishing touches on one you'll show later, my stadium. And the other thing I did one video, and I have a bunch in the can now to do, is a building YouTube video, but pairing the building with booze of some sort. So just having a drink of some kind that relates somehow to the building, whether it's the set or where I
Hmm.
got the set. And yeah, so I got a few of those coming up, including one for poly bags coming up, because when you get a poly bag, you grip it and rip it to open
Hmm.
it. So I figured some John Daly drinks there, and then do a grip it, rip it, and sip it video, and
Okay.
got a handful from there. So that's kind of what I got going on.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, man. Definitely diverse. Man, you gotta have a couple YouTube channels. Gotta have a couple.
For sure.
So how would you describe your Lego builds? How would you describe your work?
I mean, I tend to go for realism right off the bat. Even from when I was a kid, I was always drawn to city and just, real stuff. The space and, all the kind of fantasy and different castle and all those never really, they're cool sets, but it was never something I'm like, I want to build a big this, or I can't wait to get that set. For me, it was always just cities. And when I'm at the point now when I drive down the street, if
Hmm.
I see a building, I go, it starts turning my head like, oh, how do I build that? Or, oh, I couldn't build that one. Those pieces don't exist in that color. And, stop and sometimes, stop the car, take pictures just to get an idea for things down the road. But it's just, I go city realism right off the
Mhm.
bat because I think it's kind of cool for people to see it because they can look at that and then see something, whether it's the actual building or something similar in person.
Okay.
And I kind of go for mass appeal with my buildings. And the thing
Hmm.
I've dubbed it Nickelback Lego building,
Okay.
in the sense that a lot of people hate on Nickelback, but it's big, loud, and it's easy for the masses to appreciate. I know some incredible builders that do technical stuff and creative stuff on the level I just can't comprehend.
Hmm.
So I take my skill set and I do stuff that I just want people to instantly recognize it and appreciate it because I'm not going to have that technical mastery. So I'm not going to be
Okay.
playing these elaborate guitar solos at Lego. I'm going to stick to what I can do well and just be
Yeah.
Nickelback and do that.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. So tell me, do you belong to any lugs, or you're a lone wolf?
I belong to the VLC, so that's the Vancouver-based lug. I guess we're not Vancouver Lego Club anymore due to their rules, but yeah, I've been in that for geez 6 or 7, if not more years now. And I
Hmm.
just got a gig. I'm the publicity director for the VLC now, so just trying to help us get the word out and get our builders known in the local community and just help raise the awareness of the group. And
Okay. Okay.
it's a good lug. I thought it was big until we start looking at Seattle and Portland, some of the other ones, and apparently we're small.
Hmm.
It's a good group, and we have some amazing builders. We have one of the Lego certified professional. We have probably my favorite builder, period, Paul Hetherington, Brick
Okay.
Baron, who does some absolutely mind blowing stuff. So it's cool just to have people like that nearby. And
Mhm.
it's a good range. There's people who do all sorts of things. A guy who mods all Star Wars sets into Friends, and
Okay.
yeah, just a good group of people that cover a wide range of interests, which is nice.
Okay, awesome deal, man. So we know what's unique about your building process, because you said that you're into realism. So you take a original a real life building and break it up. Um, so I think that's definitely unique about your building process. So do you build with any significant others other than a cat?
I mean, the cat's always jumping in there with me whenever she can, but I've always just liked building on my own.
Hmm.
Uh, my significant other right now, she was a non-Lego person for the most part until recently, and actually came down with me to Bricks Cascade, and
Okay.
she came from the other type of con world and was just really blown away by the community of people there, and just everyone's really supportive and friendly
Hmm.
and just collaborative. And she's starting to get into it, but I don't anticipate including her in any of my major builds anytime soon because
Okay.
I have my vision and I don't want anyone else muddling with that. So I'll
Right.
happily build with her nearby, but she won't be pitching in on my builds.
Okay. Okay. So you're definitely an architecture type of builder, I would say. And
Mhm.
as you know, that's a hobby that's grown into. You have any other hobbies outside of Lego that you may bring over into your mom?
I mean, this one will tie into my build later, but I'm a big sports guy. I'm from Canada, so naturally I'm a hockey player. I still play
Ah,
beer league hockey. I referee hockey.
okay.
I worked in the sports industry. I'm a big Whitecaps, Vancouver Whitecaps fan, season ticket
Hmm.
holder for them.
Hmm.
So those are the big ones. I mean, as much as anyone says this ever, I like to travel.
Okay.
But I mean, the big ones are just, sports, doing, playing sports, not just being a spectator. And then Lego is the big one.
Okay. Awesome deal, man. Awesome. Is it therapeutic, or is a form of art for you, or is it business? What is it? What is building for you?
It's a little bit of, I'd say, the art and the therapeutic side. I just, it's relaxing. I enjoy it. It's a good way, if you're, you're stressed or just something's bugging you, you just pull out the Lego and just play around with it, whether you're working on, an actual building or just, just fooling around. In the
Hmm.
last couple of years, I started, doing a lot of just Instagram photos with my sig fig and just props and things like that. And that's when I really find is useful if I'm, if you're having a hard day or just, bored or just want something fun to do, just taking the Lego figures out and driving somewhere nearby and just taking
Hmm.
some shots and, learning a
Yeah.
new skill while I'm at it. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, the art side of it, I just like seeing how people react to it. I mean, I worked in sports and just kind of my makeup as a person is, I like doing things that make people happy and people enjoy it. And when
Okay.
someone comes by and sees a really cool Lego building, you just see them light up. And at the cons when you have kids there, and they're looking at you like you're this amazing Lego builder, and it
Right.
doesn't
Right.
the ego it helps the ego a little bit, but you can see someone being inspired by what you're doing, and it's cool because I'm not super old, but I'm from a time before online
Hmm.
Lego groups, and we probably didn't have the same ease of connecting with other Lego fans and things like that. So, to
Right.
have that face to face and encourage them, here's what I do and here's how to do it, and just go try your own thing. And you can see them, start nodding and being excited, and their parents shaking their heads and fearful for the Lego they're going to have to buy. But
Right.
yeah, it's fun for me, and it's really fun to see how people react to it, and
Hmm.
I get a big kick out of that.
That's good. Yeah, that's good observation too, because that's exactly right. So what was your most difficult project that you took on?
My most difficult one, it's still technically ongoing, and I think you have some slides later. It's my hockey arena. I mean,
Okay.
that one's been going for, I mean, we've been on a break for about a year, but I've put
Hmm.
about 6 or 7 years into it, just of time and money.
Yeah.
And like I say, much like my other stuff, it's not a technical, and there's no crazy techniques or anything in it.
Right.
It's a beast. And, I'm really looking forward to finally putting the finishing touches on it and then starting to modify the playing surface a little bit. But
Hmm.
yeah, that'd be the toughest one, because I mean, one thing I try to do is I try and take on ideas that I know I can do. So whether it's LDDing it first or just from my intuition knowing I can do it.
Right.
I'm not I'll try and do some things that are kind of neat, and I can talk about that more with the brewery. But I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel and create a new technique. So I tend to not get myself over my head with my builds.
Okay. Okay. Good advice. Good advice, because it's so easy to dive in, and you got to backtrack later once you bit off more you can chew.
Yeah, exactly.
So how important is the Lego A4 community, like the Instagrams and the Facebooks and the YouTubes, to you and your builds?
I mean, I mean, as much as I build Lego for myself now, a big part of it is the sharing aspect and just,
Hmm.
seeing what other people are doing. And it's huge. I mean, I can't imagine, I talk
Hmm.
to guys in the club who, they're in their 40s or 50s. And, when they were building, when they were kids, the other Lego you saw was either from the Lego magazine every month or from your friend's house. Like, you just couldn't get other ideas. And whereas now, if I want to do a building, I Google Lego modular or look up the
Hmm.
hashtag on Instagram, and you can
Hmm.
see so many people around the world and what they're doing, and you can ask them questions. And
Hmm.
it's awesome because you see something, it's like, oh, I want to do a building like that. And
Hmm.
then you find someone doing that, and you can just ask them a question. And it's the Lego community. They're not hiding their trade secrets from you. They want to encourage other builders. So it's a really awesome supportive community. And my commission build came up because of it. And so I
Hmm.
have some really good friends now because the AFOL community. And it was cool taking someone to their first con who's not wasn't really a Lego person, period. And
Okay.
seeing their outside perspective of like, yeah, the people here are super friendly and super helpful and just want to be there for each other and give each other ideas. And
Hmm.
I think that just sums up what the AFOL community is. Like it's a really great, supportive, collaborative group. And the one thing that's also kind of cool is there is a little bit of one-upsmanship now. You know,
Okay.
you see someone do something and it kind of pushes you a little bit. Like one of the buildings I'm working on now behind me, this Kim's Convenience. I
Hmm.
saw someone. I thought I was the first one with the idea and
Okay.
started building it, and then found out someone else had already done it, and I was like, I think I can do one a little bigger and better. So I'm gonna try and make mine even better. So it's kind of fun when try and one up somebody and just keep
Right.
making things bigger and better. And it's not, there's no adversarial aspect to it. It's just like, I want to see what I can do here and challenge yourself a little bit that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when deciding to taking on, some of your projects, like you say, you got the sharing aspect of it, and you find out what techniques and stuff like that. But how do you decide when taking on a new project? How do you decide what scale or techniques you're going to use in a new build?
I mean, for me, I'm always minifig scale. The dream is to one day have a couple thousand square foot basement somehow, and then build a big city, and that's the ideal. So I build everything with the anticipation that one day, it'll be
Hmm.
part of the city.
Hmm.
And I just love minifigures and what they are, and I want everything to make sense for them. So I always go minifig scale right off the bat.
Right.
And really, I don't have any massive towers yet or anything super crazy, because there's with Lego's not cheap. So I
No.
don't want to have my builds stopped because, oh great, the thing I want to build is gonna be $4,000. I build stuff that I know, I can get done in a decent amount of time, because I don't want to have too many things half finished as I'm waiting to, you know, justify another Bricklink order to myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really just comes down to, if I've done some other projects, find a
Hmm.
building that intrigues me that I want to build, and then start doing that at minifig scale.
Okay. Cool. Cool deal. Now, one more question. They usually like more not, I would say, like an experienced builder such as yourself usually have like a room to themselves with full of Lego, wall to wall Lego. You don't necessarily, that's not your case. And yours more, I mean, like, you're a very technical builder, but you don't, I say, for lack of a better term, hoard Lego. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, part of that's logistics. I live in a 750 square foot apartment, so
mhm,
I don't have an extra den or anything to put that in. But, and I also have the benefit of some older stuff just lives at my parents' house still. So,
okay, okay,
but I'm not big on having Lego for the sake of having it. Like, I tend to not get stuff unless I have an idea of what I'm going to use it for.
okay.
So the extra stuff I have is either stuff from orders I end up not using, or just from sets throughout the years.
Hmm.
But, if I see something at a good deal, pieces or whatever, I'm not picking them up unless I can go, what, I foresee a building in the semi near future needing those.
Hmm.
And I also take my space into account. So, I just have the table behind me. I have a handful of shelving, like little drawers from Walmart, and a
Right.
couple of bins for just random stuff. And that's all I have for space. And it's not really growing, just because the stuff I'm getting in, it's going right into the builds. And
Right.
then when these builds are done, like the brewery and a few other ones I'm working on, once they're done and I'm done showing them for a while, they'll get cardboard boxed up, and
Hmm.
I'll store them until I want to bring them out again. So I'm never going to be taking up too much space, as much as some of my friends' Lego rooms, which are incredible. I certainly wouldn't mind having that, but I'm not quite at that point where I can bring myself to have a giant wall of shelving and everything, because I just don't need that space yet, and I don't
Right.
foresee myself needing it anytime soon.
I got you. Got you. Good answer. Good answer. All right, folks, this is the second half of the show where we go to the PowerPoint presentation. We'll look at some of the creations of our guests. So I'm going to share my screen here. Give me a minute. And I'll bring this thing up. Here we go. So I wanna, maybe I missed it. You don't have a sig fig, do you?
Sorry, I do actually. He's just hanging out right here on my brewery. So this is get my lens right. This is
Okay.
my current sig fig guy.
Uh, we'll
Uh,
we'll we'll check it out after the PowerPoint because I can't see it. Nobody can see it, so
oh, fair enough.
we'll check it out. Yeah, we'll check it out. I was trying to look for it. Maybe I overlooked it. You know what I did? I think that first picture that you showed was this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me in there. So that was my first ever Lego photography shot. Period. And it's actually one of just stylistically, it's one of my favorites. And for a few years, I hadn't taken a picture I thought was better than that, which was incredibly frustrating. So I was like, oh, great. My first picture was really good. And the rest of them have been okay.
Okay.
But that's just, about a 5-minute drive away from my place. And it was a nice night. And the bridge there is a pretty significant architecture landmark in the area. So I thought, just see what we can do. And that was the one that kind of kicked it off for me.
Awesome deal. Awesome deal. All right, here, quite the photographer. So tell us, you said you do like sports, and that was part of your hobby here.
Yeah, so the funny thing is actually I didn't take that photo. So
Okay.
those are my figures, but a friend of mine, Jason, he occasionally shoots sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple years ago, this was Canada Mexico friendly at BC Place in Vancouver,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a daughter and he likes Lego as well. So I just he wanted to take some shots, so I gave him the figures to take down at field level. It was a full sellout, 55,000 fans there. It was
Okay.
a cool night, and yeah, so that it's kind of funny. That's one shot I didn't actually take myself.
Awesome deal. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
5,000.
All right. And where are we here?
There we are at Brick Can. I want to say 2016. So that was the first Brick Can we had here in Richmond, excuse me, which is just outside of Vancouver. And I hadn't pre-registered a mock or anything. So that is my, I believe it's, I always forget the name of it, Brick City Meats modular. So that was actually my first completed modular building. So I just, the second day I thought, oh, there's an empty space. I'll bring my modular anyway. And actually that's my Zamboni right in front of it. So,
Okay. Okay.
but yeah, so that was the first time I delved into building my own custom modular. And that one I still have today. The only difference now is I've done most of the insides and I added a non-Lego sign to the front of it. So just to give it a little more, just give a little another piece to bring attention to.
Okay. Okay. So you had a catastrophe here.
Yeah, we've had a few catastrophes throughout the years. So where I'm sitting now with the table behind me, I
Mm-hmm.
used to just have that stadium, and that was on the floor, given its size. So
Mm-hmm.
occasionally the cat would find its way in there, and if I'd catch it, it would get startled and just beeline around a corner and take out everything in its path. So that was one of those times the cat took out my outer wall there, and yeah, that certainly wasn't the last time it happened.
Okay. Okay. So tell
And
us about
there's
the ice hockey rink.
Yeah, that's after another one of her forays into it. So that's when the cat was pretty young, when it was just a kitten, and in the back right corner there got taken out. The roof on the building got annihilated, and yeah, she did some damage that day.
Yeah. Oh, pets.
And there it is.
The thing's pretty massive, man. So tell us from start to scratch, man. From start to finish, what was you trying to achieve in this build here?
Yeah, so it's funny. It changed multiple times. Originally, so it was actually about 7 years ago. Broke ground on it, and I just started with the actual ice surface.
Hmm.
So that was the first thing. And first of all, this project was never supposed to get this big. Um, so originally, I had the ice surface and the Zamboni, and then I built one side of stand. So I was originally going to have a couple hundred seats in there. I had a little kind of courtyard behind it with a few vendors, like a hot dog, a beer vendor, and a
Hmm.
little. I had a little broadcast booth as well, but it was literally just the arena, and then one side of
Hmm.
it, and then the side wasn't as built up. It was just like a little Lego staircase into the stands, pretty simple. And then just as time went on, it went from, oh, I'm going to do one side, then it went to two sides, then it
Hmm.
went to a horseshoe, and then I was like, well, might as well complete the full seating bowl here.
Okay.
um, and then it just kept growing and growing. And then one thing with my buildings is I always want it to be realistic. So any modular I build, there's always, or a store, there's always a bathroom in it, just because
Hmm.
in real life the barbershop has a washroom, the pub has a everything has washrooms. So
Okay.
this one I wanted to have everything. So in the back there is the broadcast booth in the middle.
Hmm.
On either side are two private boxes. So
Okay.
those have, food in there. They have little TV screens because a lot of private boxes have them. They
Hmm.
have a little washroom in the back. And then on the far left side, you can see a little black structure. One that is actually a frame for my tablet. So I wanted there to be the big jumbotron like most stadiums. So I built that to fit my tablet in there, and then I just slide it in, turn on some a hockey video, just to give it that kind of real effect.
Uh-huh.
And then on the close side, you can't really see much of it, but there's a few concessions there which I moved in its last iteration, and then
Okay.
underneath is a pair of dressing rooms, and I just have an interview room to finish off there, and a little referee room,
Hmm.
and then that'll be done. And then on the other side, under the seats, there are going to be a few washrooms, and
Okay.
then the facade is just, you can see it in the cat picture there. Then it'll be done finally, just because it's like, say, after last year's brick can, which was the first time I showed it, I
Hmm.
decided I needed at least a full year away from it, just because it had been too long. It had been sitting on my floor here. I was like, I just need to get away from this for a year.
Right.
And yeah, so that I'll probably in May or June get back to it, just because it's 93% complete. So I just want to
Hmm.
get the last few things done, have it complete, so I can start working on the arena part, or the surface part.
Right.
And because right now it's hockey, but I want to have a lot of fun with it. So I've got dodgeball, so from the movie
Hmm.
Dodgeball. I've got that playing surface done. I've designed a WWE wrestling setup, and the sky's the limit there. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you got the whole arena. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of minifigs, man. That is a lot of minifigs.
So it is just under 900 seats in there, and that includes the seating bowl, the private suites, and once you include the teams and
Hmm.
everything, you're looking at about 940 figures to completely populate it.
Yikes. Man, a Lego store, a secondhand Lego store would love you, man. All the minifigs, boy. Whew.
No kidding. And it's kind of funny because it was originally I wanted to do blue seats, but
Hmm.
red seats appeared in the pick a brick wall. So I thought, you know what? They're half the price. And
Right.
on the side, I work for SFU hockey. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to make it the SFU outdoor arena here. So yeah,
Okay.
that's how that all came about. And it ended up working out nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheaper is better. Cheaper is better.
100%. 100%.
So tell us about this magnificent piece of architecture that you did. Tell us how you designed it, and then how you started first laying the brick down for it.
Yeah, so this is so in my hometown of Surrey, this is the Guildford Mall.
Hmm.
So a few years ago, they did a massive, I think it was $300 million renovation, and this was the new front area to it. And then 2 years ago was their 50th anniversary. So they have a Lego brand store in the mall. So they wanted to do a build of the mall. And I knew some management staff there from other endeavors. They knew I was a Lego guy. So I
Hmm.
said, "Yeah, can you build this?" And I've done some modulars on my own, but I hadn't built a commission on my own and haven't built something at this scale. So I actually enlisted another guy from our lug and just brought him because he's done some other some other landmarks in Surrey. I said,
Hmm.
"Hey, I've been approached. I don't quite feel confident enough to take this on myself. Will
Okay.
you do it with me?" So him and I did that together, and it started out. I started in LDD just to get that rounded surface right,
Okay.
to get an idea of what we were going to do, and to just kind of guide us a little bit. And then we, got I went there, took some pictures. I wanted to get just some little details, just some key ones, because with Lego you can't always get every little detail. So
Yeah.
I just try and get the visual cues that'll instantly tip you off to that building, and people will recognize it. So got photos of it, wanted to get little feature, just all the little features in there, and then we just started going, and it was a few trial and error. We had some different color combinations on the side and
Hmm.
just a few other things, but after some trial and error, we got to the design we wanted, and there it is, and it's in all its glory.
Okay.
So kind of the main design aspects were obviously the rounded front
Hmm.
and the little pond in the front there as well. And then
Hmm.
one that I thought really helped it stand out was on the left side. There's a bit of a water feature, and I
Yeah.
think
I see
I
that.
think that really added just to the build, just because it really hammered home where it was. And one thing with this photo that I really liked is I'm a big stickler for details. I asked them, can you let us go on the roof? Because we want to get some of the roof fixtures correct. So, had a
Right.
security escort up onto the roof of the mall so I could take pictures and get all that stuff designed so we could put that on there just for realism. And
Right.
and then in the front, you can see there's a lot of minifigures on it. So the mall actually wanted their staff to be in it. So the staff went to the Lego store, built all their own little minifigs from the minifig station, and we knew who they
Hmm.
all were. And we just placed, I think it's about almost 40 of them throughout the build. And
Okay.
a couple of my favorites, you can't totally see them, but on the right side, in that last lower level window, you can see a blonde haired figure looking into the window. One thing that was really cool with that is if you're looking at it in person, she can actually see her reflection. So I have her with the little Lego lipstick, applying lipstick using her reflection from the window there. And
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah, so stuff like that, because when it was on display, I could see people finding that, and those little Easter eggs really, really bring it to life. And
Hmm.
we have some people taking selfies. We have someone falling in the water. And one thing that ended up being kind of lucky was I didn't know most of the staff at all. So we were just placing people around. And then they came up to us after and said, you put these two together. These two are they're the best of friends. How did you know? The one who's walking out of the Starbucks, she goes to Starbucks
Okay.
every day. She loves Starbucks. How did you know she was a big Starbucks addict? It's like, oh, it was just pure luck. So it
Yeah.
was really fun because we got to include the staff in the build, so they were really proud of it. And
Hmm.
it was around the mall in open spaces. Anytime they had an empty an empty storefront, they would just put it in there just to draw attention to the Lego store. So it was cool. And, a few times I just went there and just stood by as people walked by and reacted to it, just to, stroke the ego a little bit and just see people respond positively to it.
Okay, good deal, man. Good deal, man. Yeah, this is a phenomenal build here, man. I mean, you definitely went all in on this build here, and it shows. You're definitely about the details.
Yes.
Remarkable, very remarkable. That's pure inspiration right there, too. So now you move away from that build and you start something else. What are we looking at now?
So we are looking at the early days of Brick Brewery. This one is just for my own liking. This isn't a commission or anything, but this is a brewery. The Central City Brewery here in Surrey just opened a new building a couple years ago, and it's fantastic West Coast architecture. So a lot of wood, a lot of really cool just wood paneling. There's, cement, wood, just the contrast is really nice. So I always, I want to build it. So this one is a take on that. The actual building is, the main features are much bigger, but I wanted to hit the features on it, and I think I was able to do it pretty effectively. And this was one of the first days actually of building it that this photo's from, because I just got going right away. And one thing that is kind of unique to my buildings is you'll notice it's not just on the base plate. I'm not a fan of Lego roads. I like brick built or custom roads, and I just find structurally when it's just on a base plate, it's not as strong. So any building I build, I do the base plate on the bottom, I do a single layer of brick, and then plate it on the top just to add some rigidity to it and make it a little stronger and easier to transport. So all of my buildings do that, and then they also end up matching up to my custom road, just because I don't want Lego roads are too narrow for cars in my opinion. So it ends up matching up to that with all my builds.
Awesome deal. So here's a few renders of the build up here.
Yeah. So one thing you can actually see in the first shot, all the wood was the dark reddish brown.
Dark red,
I didn't go into that right away. But the thing, with wood, there's different tones and everything. So I wanted to kind of capture that a little bit. So I played around, ordered a bunch of lighter brown, the nougat color, and then added, the brown just to kind of simulate that real wood texture to it without having to just buy a bunch of wood decorated pieces. I think that would have been a little lazy.
Let's see here. All right. So now we are looking at the further renders you have in it. We're inside?
We are inside. So one thing with this is, I'm a big fan. At the end of the day, Lego is a toy, and I think it should be something that can be played with. So all my builds tend to have playability to it. So this one actually ends up being, and it's almost kind of like a dollhouse where you can take parts off of it. So the picture on the left is inside the tasting room essentially. So they have they have the fridges, and that ends up getting filled with all the beer. And there's a little bar table. Excuse me. And there's a couple. There's a table. There's also in the actual brewery, there's a big metal angel structure. So I've got that inside as well.
Okay.
And the Lego is one I custom designed myself. I took their Central City's logo, removed their branding, and then just took a couple Lego mugs, added a gradient to them, and made it a little more Lego centric with the logo.
Awesome. And it's an awesome logo. Very, very. I mean, you're not going to find that anywhere else. I mean, so very original.
No.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's on the building itself, just because I wanted where the actual on Central City where their logo is. So I just want it to not be a direct ripoff and switch it up a little bit.
Okay. Good deal, man. Good deal. This thing looks up to be a good size you have here.
Yeah, so it's on a 48 by 48 base plate,
Mm-hmm.
The curved side with those pillars make
Mm-hmm.
it cut out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's a 48 by 48. So what you can see right now is on the top there on the right hand side is the offices. So
Okay.
that with it being brown right now, one thing is through work I actually had to go meet with some staff there. So I went up to the offices and I had done it in brown because I thought, oh, they have all these wood features. Got to the offices, no brown. It was just glass and gray. So just the last couple weeks, I destroyed the top part again and completely rebuilt the walls to
Mm-hmm.
be glass and gray, just to be more accurate.
Okay.
And the other part you can't really see in this bill in this photo, and I've just updated it recently, is the big kind of left turn area, which is the brewery. I now have brewing tanks in there and hoses to connect it all to a bottling line, so it looks like a functioning real brewery now.
Mm-hmm.
That office up top pops out so you can get to the tasting room, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's the whole roof that goes on the top. Yeah. And there's the feature that gets this all its attention. So that's the one thing anyone sees in this build. That's what they're instantly drawn to, because that was the biggest challenge, was the curve. The curve had to be a little steeper compared to the actual building. So
Okay.
the actual pillars are just brick on little hinge plates, and then at the top, nothing's actually connecting. The brick on the front piece is actually just resting in a slope, in the hole of a slope, so it's very
Mm-hmm.
fragile.
Okay.
But then the roof was actually the even bigger challenge, just getting that angle, because it wasn't a standard like 30-degree, 45-degree angle that you can do relatively easy with Lego. It's just kind of inconsistent. So
Yeah.
that was a challenge. Sliding it all in, it doesn't look perfectly seamless, but it's the best I could get there. And then
Mm-hmm.
one thing I did design wise that kind of is just by necessity is you
Mm-hmm.
can see the roof there. Just to cover some of the holes, I put plates on the top,
Okay.
and I didn't love how it looked, but then I realized that the roof there is actually like it's a rock, it's just loose rock on the roof. So I
Okay.
actually added those little extra tiles throughout the roof just to give that rock effect, when really
Oh,
it's just there to not make my seam cover stand out. So it actually was a happy thing I stumbled upon to make it
okay.
look more authentic, when really it was just there to cover something I couldn't do how I wanted it to go.
Right. I got you. Yeah. A little give and take there. And I mean, I don't think I ever seen the use of the beams to support the roof like that. I mean, whether it's functional or not, I mean, the just the design of it, stands out.
Yeah, actually, it's funny when you say that. The roof actually supports the beams at the end of the day, because
Okay.
the beams are kind of loose, so the weight of the roof on it, and having the beam actually just kind of like click in, just like touch underneath the roof pieces, keeps those pillars in place, because they are
Hmm.
just like a slight touch and those things go flying. So the
Right.
roof actually keeps them in place, which is kind of funny because it's literally the opposite of how it actually goes.
I got you. All right.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's the finishing touch. And I can point out a couple things with the brewery here. So, like I say, the main architecture points that I wanted to get is this wooden pillar at the front. Like they have two of those, so I wanted one of those in it. The
Hmm.
curved roof with the natural West Coast lumber pillars,
Okay.
and then a couple of little ones. Even the on the pathway there, the bricks leading up to the building are kind of an orangey colored. So I thought, let's do it that way. There's a little tree at the door there, and then
Right.
one of my favorite design pieces is the overhang there. So
Yeah.
those are actually their slopes, just a black. I believe it's 1 by 4 slope. So it
You want my
clicks
four?
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 by 4 black slope clicks in, on the wall, and
Hmm.
then the glass is actually just a clear trans door. So I use the door piece to click into the slope to have that there.
Good details, real good details. I like it. I like it. Yeah. So and then you went to Brisk Cascade and got best big building.
Yeah, that was unexpected because I actually I brought it to BrickCon in Seattle, didn't pick anything up there,
Hmm.
and I just whether it's humility or just awareness of what's around me, I tend to not expect myself. I don't build for trophies. I don't build to try and win stuff,
Right.
and I just assumed I wasn't winning anything. And it was funny, right when they got to town, they announced best big building, and I turned to my girlfriend and said, "Yeah, that's not me." And then my name goes up on the screen, and I'm just kind of dumbfounded when that happened. And went up there and got it, and yeah, that was my first. This is my first ever building building award at a con. So I was pretty pumped. And this building has been, it's been blogged about a couple times on Arch Brick
Uh-huh.
and a couple other places. But yeah, I was really pumped because I was not expecting it at all.
Uh-huh.
And now it's my, like I say, it's my first ever brick building trophy. And now, I'm kind of inspired to try and win another one with a different building now that I've kind of set the bar for myself.
Yeah, you set it up pretty high, my man. You did. You did. So here's that Brick City Brewery in another one of your builds attached to one of your builds here. And actually, I think this is sitting behind you, right?
Yeah, so that actually it's not one of my builds there behind it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's another member of our club, Alan.
Okay.
So that's based off some buildings in New Westminster, which is just 5 minutes away from me here.
Mm-hmm.
And this was at actually one of our lug meetings. So I had brought my brewery just to bring it out and see if anyone had suggestions or ideas or anything, and he had his there. So I thought,
Okay.
let's put them together and get a cool shot with them. And one
Mm-hmm.
thing that's neat is that was part of what was their build called? It was called Memory Lane. So they won the other town building award at Brick Cascade. Him and another friend of mine, Dave.
Okay.
Uh, so that was part of their build. So actually, both parts of this picture won build trophies at Brick Cascade.
Awesome deal. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, man. And then not only that, it's just that you I think you get the right angle and the right shots of the photos after you build, like even like this one here, kind of, brings the detail when you sit in the eye level here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of fun to give people a minifig point of view there. And
Hmm.
one thing with the Lego, I'm not a trained photographer by any stretch, so it's
Hmm.
been cool to just try and try out new things and learn how to edit photos and take some shots. And I mean,
Hmm.
these are all my builds in this photo here, and it's just like
Hmm.
kind of cool to see that minifig point of view because it actually tends to make the buildings look a little more impressive because you're looking, up at them from that
Right.
POV versus, looking down on it from kind of a god level. So yeah, I
Hmm.
really like the shots like that.
So this is your city block, and I like this is what I like about it is that you came up with the creativity to actually create your own city block. You don't have any other store bought modulars, so you I mean basically I don't want to say you off the cuff, but like you're creating.
Yeah, I mean, one pet peeve, I mean, to each their own. Whatever someone wants to do with Lego is their choice, but I'm never interested when I see pictures of a bunch of the modulars because it's just that's another design. There's you built the modular, cool, they look nice, but I don't get pumped up seeing those pictures. So I want everything in my city to be custom. This street right now, behind me is typically all the stuff I'm currently working on, just because I like to keep, that stuff there. I just got a display case yesterday actually to move the stuff that's done out of the way. And yeah, so this is my fire station, my Kim's Convenience, which is the main thing I'm working on right now, and
Mm-hmm.
a house that's actually been kind of relegated to the back burner for now while I work on a couple of my commercial city streets right now.
Okay.
And then the street in the front, that's an earlier picture of the street I'm building right now. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I go 10 wide with my roads, and then there's a sidewalk, and I want to have a little planter in the middle as well for it.
Okay. Okay. Kim's Convenience. This is the first renderings of the Kim Convenience.
Yeah, that's a pretty early one in Kim's, and actually it hadn't changed much until yesterday when I had a lug or a bricklink order just arrive from Germany because I
Mm-hmm.
was waiting for those tan masonry bricks because
Okay.
it's like your typical 80s 90s panel exterior on that building. So
Mm-hmm.
for those who don't know, Kim's Convenience is a comedy in Canada here on the CBC, based on a Korean immigrant family and their convenience store.
Okay.
And I just it's technically it's not a super challenging build, and it's just something where people instantly recognize it. People get a real kick out of it. I've had the actors comment on my pictures of it before, and which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool when you connect with them that way. And yeah, so that's what I'm currently working on, rushing to get that one done before BrickCan here April 20th, because
Okay.
I want that to be there, because I think that'll be a hit, because people will see that Kim's Convenience is as far as Canadian sitcoms and shows like that, it's a pretty big hit up here. So
Mm-hmm.
people will recognize it and get a big kick out of it.
Awesome deal, man. Yeah,
Sure.
man. And I like that, to switch up on the brick, like here, you get the bottom that's, which this would be a typical convenience store where you have the two level, like the apartment up top and the store on the bottom.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And the gray part will eventually be decorated because they have a big, kind of mural on it. So I'll be,
Mm-hmm.
Photoshop cutting that out of a picture and putting that on there. And then the
Okay.
labels on the store, I just, pulled online and printed them on some clear label paper.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as much as it impresses me when people make signs out of Lego
Mm-hmm.
for their mocks, and that's one of those things I can't visualize myself, but
Right.
I would rather it look more authentic, so I prefer just to build them, design them myself on the computer and put them on myself that way.
Okay. Here you have you creating a firehouse.
Yeah, so that's a fire station. That one, as I
Mm-hmm.
look at it, that's an earlier, because recently I just changed the front to
Mm-hmm.
masonry brick just to give it a little more detail.
Okay.
But yeah, so I got a firehouse. The one on the left is going to be just like a little coffee shop type
Okay.
thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only floor I've got done on that one. And then obviously my Brick City Meats and Kim's Convenience there as well.
Okay.
And that picture is slightly, I have them in the wrong order, because you can see on the sidewalk I have that kind of warning area. The fire
Mm-hmm.
station will go right in front of that. It's just there's, the idea is so people don't walk through it when a fire truck's coming out.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Awesome deal, man. Awesome. That is awesome. That was very, very good architecture you got there, my man. Very good architecture there, man. I know who to go for some advice, man, because I want to dive into some realistic builds and stuff like that. I'm into a lot of the Marvel superhero stuff, but I think I want to dive into some realistic builds and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
cool.
like you said, branch out, and learn some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one more question before I let you off the icebox.
Okay.
All right, so you say about I don't know, about 30 years from now, you find yourself at a major Lego convention, and you
Okay.
have all your builds there, and a 10-year-old comes up to you. What do you tell him about Lego?
What do I tell them about Lego? it's kind of cliche given the movie, but I just tell them like Lego's awesome, and it's the create you can build whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, and one thing I would really hammer home is, Lego's never, now a little less so because it's more mainstream, but it's always been kind of one of those nerdy things.
Hmm.
And, I know my dark ages was more in, my high school years, because when you discover girls and trying to be cool and fit in, when you
Uh-huh.
go around telling people you build Lego or play with Lego, it's kind of like, whatever. And I just tell them, what, if you like Lego, just own it. Just, there's other people like you out there. Just go for it. Don't care what other people say or if they think it's nerdy or
Hmm.
whatever. Just, what, if you enjoy it, do it. There's a lot of people out there like you. And when you're older, again, people, will appreciate it. And one, not that I tell them this, but one thing that's kind of funny is, I've used it, when you're chatting with girls, you tell them that, yeah, I build Lego, and it catches them off guard because they don't hear that that often. It's like, oh, you
Right.
build Lego, and it's, show them pictures and just people in general, when you tell them, I build Lego, and they
Hmm.
go, oh, do you play with Lego and have the figures doing little stuff like this? And then you show them a picture of something like the brewery or my ice rink, and they go, okay,
It's
that's
like,
really
oh yeah,
cool.
you're
How did
for
you do
real.
that? Yeah, and then they kind of go from like, that's kind of cute and adorable to like, okay, like how'd you do that? And then suddenly they're interacting with you, and
Right.
they want to know more. And that little kid, it's just when you're pumped about something and you are enthusiastic about it, the people around you are going to feed off that. You
Right.
know, I like Lego, but if someone I know likes something else that I'm not into, but I see them talking about it and they're
Hmm.
passionate about it, you're interested right away. You want to know more because it brings that person this joy. You want to know more about it. So
Awesome.
yeah, that'd be kind of my deal. I would just, like I say, tell them to just own it. If you like it, own it.
Awesome deal, man. Where can they find you?
Where can you find me? Fraser, all my stuff now is at Fraser Valley Bricks. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all Fraser Valley Bricks. Don't have, I have a Twitter, but I don't really use it for my actual builds. Instagram's the main one I'm typically on, and hopefully a little more often with YouTube here in the future.
Okay, good deal, man. Thanks for stopping by the Ice Box. I appreciate you, coming through and accepting the invitation.
Awesome. Thank you for having me here on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, that's right, folks. Happy Easter Sunday to you. With that, that concludes tonight's show. I want to bid you love, peace, and Lego. Have a good night.